Since its creation in 1944, the Servicemen's Readjustment Act, better known as the GI Bill, has provided educational benefits to millions of American veterans and their families. But financial issues are often not the only obstacles standing between veterans and educational success. Higher education has learned that veteran students sometimes need access to assistance and services tailored for their needs, just like other students. I'm Chuck Cantrell, and this is Metro Campus, the UTC Report. Today we're going to explore what UTC is doing to help our veterans succeed in their dream for a college degree, and why UTC is becoming a college of choice for veterans. So come back from Metro Campus, the UTC Report. Hello, welcome back to Metro Campus, the UTC Report. I'm Chuck Cantrell. As a community-engaged campus, the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga sponsors a number of programs to bring the opportunities of higher education to a variety of students. One student population that is receiving a considerable amount of attention by higher education over the past few years is student veterans. UTC is proud to have been named a Best College for Vets by the U.S. News & World Report and a 2015 Military-Friendly University. Much of this success is a result of the efforts of my guest today. Joe Wyram is Director of Veteran Services for UTC. Jeremy Bryson is a veteran student and leader in our Student Veterans Organization. Joe and Jeremy, both of you, welcome very much to Metro Campus. Thanks for being here. So Jay, I want to start off with you. Just explain to me what kind of services your office provides.
All right. I do want to clarify that my position is actually coordinator, as much as I would love to be the director or, the dictator of veteran services. But understand that every institution that accepts veterans VA bill payments for tuition fees for the military personnel will always have a school certifying official who is the liaison with the VA. So we have the school certifying official that's through the records office, that's part of our veteran services, that is stellar.
Right.
That they make sure that the veterans get their paperwork into our SCO, the school certifying official, and that she, through the records office, will then make sure all the certifications for our veterans on campus goes through the Veterans Administration to actually complete the most important part of it, is to make sure that the school and the veterans get their pay. After that, Chattanooga has gone above the bar in veteran services. We are creating the gold standard. That they decided to create a position that I now sit in as the coordinator for programs and services that provides a much easier transition for our military personnel to go from base to campus, starting with coordinating with admissions to identify those veterans, to make sure that records is smooth in getting their transcripts, their military transcripts included into their academic transcripts, to assist the veterans to know where are all the services available to them, everything from financial aid to education opportunity, wellness, to counseling services, career counseling services, disability resources, and as well as the fun stuff like the free lunches and the tailgating for the Mox games.
So tell me, Joe, what is your background in the military?
I am retired Army. I am the first generation of the all-volunteer Army that I entered service right after the Vietnam conflict ended in around 1975. I spent the next roughly 6.5 years with the military until they decided to release me because the knee injuries I sustained no longer made me fit for combat. So after getting out in '86, while being stationed in California, my family and I, we moved here to Chattanooga, well, again, nearly 30 years ago. Then using my GI Bill, I ultimately started at Chattanooga State, transferred to UTC, and then became a student veteran myself. That I had the unique experience, Chuck, as being that a student veteran. Also, I've been faculty at UTC for roughly 13 years, as well as now being a staff member in student development. In that I understand the unique needs of those student veterans, and we do everything we can to educate our faculty and staff in those very needs as well.
So tell me a little bit about what might be some of the obstacles or the complications for a student veteran that might be a little bit different than say, a traditional student?
Well, first of all, in most cases, number one, their age group. Now, do understand, Chuck, that a student veteran potentially will encompass every demographic across the board, that they will be male, female, of all race, creeds, and religious beliefs. They will be of all sexual orientations. They will be single, they'll be married. They'll be single with kids, they'll be married with kids. They'll be living on campus or off campus. They can be anywhere from the age of, say, average of 22 years old all the way up to age 70 on our campus. That would be our veterans. So therefore, they are of the most unique or say non-traditional of the non-traditional students we have in our campus.
Because everyone has a different story. Everyone
Correct,
has a different...
correct. And if they're on the GI Bill at the same time, that therefore they have mandates required by the Veterans Administration in order for them to use their bill effectively to lead them towards graduation. Now, also, Chuck, we do have a number of GI Bill recipients who are not service members. They are the dependents of service members. Back in 2009, the Department of Defense used as a retention tool to keep good soldiers and military personnel in the service. They said, if you would like to stay in a little bit longer, we'll allow you to transfer your education bill to your dependents, which that's huge for a mom and or dad who's serving in the military to have the funds to send their child to school. So then we also have dependents that we also will treat them as if it was their mom and dad on campus. But they themselves are more the traditional student. 18 years old, right out of high school. They just may have been a military brat most of their lives.
I tell you what, we only have about 30 seconds, so explain to me a little bit very quickly, what is the GI Bill? We say it a lot, but what exactly does it do?
Well, the GI Bill literally is that. It's a bill that was enacted for GIs, that military personnel who served in some capacity in the military, through any of all the branches. And the GI Bill, as you mentioned in your intro, was instituted well back just shortly after, honestly, after World War I, leading into World War II, because our veterans were coming home without any type of goals or ability to get back into the job market. So it allowed them to have the ability to use that bill for education for the purpose of getting retrained, re-educated to make them more marketable in the job place.
Okay, I tell you what, we're going to have to take a break. Jeremy, I promise when we come back, we're going to hear from you. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation about veteran services at UTC. Hello and welcome back to Metro Campus. I'm Chuck Cantrell. We're discussing veteran services at UTC. Okay, Jeremy, I want to ask you a question, give you a chance to get into this conversation. Tell me first a little bit about your military experience.
I'm a 16-and-a-half-year Army veteran. I got medically retired due to wounds I suffered in combat. I've served 3 tours in Iraq. I also did a tour in Bosnia, and I did some time in Egypt. Most of my duty station was in Germany, where I met my wife. I have 2 kids. So I'm not your traditional student, to say the least. I didn't even graduate high school. I dropped out of high school, joined the Army, came in the Army, and when the Army said it was time for them to let me go, the wife said, you need to get a degree. So I said, okay, so what am I going to get a degree in? And I looked around. I did a 2-year program while I was getting medically retired and got my associate's degree and came to UTC to become a teacher.
So how did you come to Chattanooga? Did you have family roots or your wife?
I'm born and raised here in East Ridge, so Chattanooga is my home. My parents hadn't seen me in 13 years, really, being around the house. So I decided that if I was going to come back and get an education, I'm going to come back home, and UTC seemed to be the right fit.
So tell me a little bit about, did you have any particular experiences, trouble getting registered, anything like that, as coming in as an adult student, as a veteran?
Well, when I came in, Joe had already taken over, so they had already started to implement some things, so it went a little smoother than some of the others. But there is a huge adjustment. When you're 34, when I came here, 34, 35, and you're in a classroom with a bunch of 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids, it's a big adjustment. Having somebody like Joe and the SVO board members that were before me to help ease the transition really helped me out a lot, because we don't know what's going on. We're used to a structured environment in the military, and college life is not structured. It's a lot of changes at the last minute. So it was a big adjustment.
So Joe, I can imagine that, I mean, just what Jeremy said, they're used to being in life and death situations, and suddenly they're sitting in a classroom with 18 and 19-year-old students who's probably have never faced anything remotely like this. Their life experiences are significantly different. I know that UTC has a program called the Green Zone that how does that help? What is the purpose of the Green Zone, and how does that help us with like this adjustment?
Well, first of all, to tell you what one particular veteran said to me a few years ago, Chuck, was that kind of just knocked me on my heels a little bit. Was he says to me, Joe, I feel more comfortable in a combat zone than I am right now on this campus. Because as Jeremy stated, that while in the military there was structure, they knew their goal, their purpose, and they had people around them who had the same goal and purpose, and they moved forward in that direction. On campus, it becomes chaos. Because if you think about everybody running between classes and they have to maintain their own schedules, I mean, they go from one very structured environment to a very chaotic environment. That the Green Zone in itself was established, that we brought together at UTC through the collaboration of myself, the Mental Health Counseling Services, and the Student Veterans Organization, that we had heard about a program that was adopted from the Safe Zone program, which is a program that helped for the gay and lesbian students to have a feeling of safeness within their campuses. So we adopted the same principle, and then of course called it Green Zone, and then put our emblem to it. What this does is that it will train faculty and staff on our campus to understand the unique needs of our student veterans, the issues they have with their transitions from the military to campus, the issues of have to possibly be redeployed, that while they're at school, next thing you know, they get orders to go back. And then when they do come back, what are the issues that they have to face coming back home and trying to continue with their education? We also, through the mental health professionals, we talk about the PTS and the TBI issues, the post-traumatic stress and the traumatic brain injury issues. That the first thing we do is we lower that stigma. We make sure that people understand, just because they're a veteran and because they happen to be a combat veteran, it doesn't mean they're going to have some sort of PTS event in their class. That they may have some issues, that we encourage our veterans to identify themselves to their professors and say, I'm a veteran, I just came back from Afghanistan, and I might have a little bit of issues where I need to sit closer to the door. That's all, I'm just letting you know. Or they might want to be able to talk to somebody in financial aid to help them with their financial wellness. And most recently, because we've had some veterans come back with the traumatic brain injuries that now have cognitive learning issues, that our DRC, Disability Resource Center, is very adaptive and has a great adaptive learning program with the technologies that helps our veterans to be able to succeed academically. And honestly, Chuck, this is to make sure that our faculty and staff are not worried about having a veteran on their campus. This is a program they sit in our training for a 2.5-hour training. They get a chance to meet the veterans and talk to our veterans, hear from the mental health professionals, and then then we will keep them apprised of all the different changes that are occurring. And so far, we've trained about 180 of our faculty and staff.
So, Jeremy, I want to go back. I want to go back to something that Joe was talking about. How do you interact? Because you have now established yourself very much as a student leader on our campus. You're recognized. Everybody on campus knows who you are, and that's because of your leadership and your activities on campus. But how have you interact with your more traditional aged peers, the 18, 19-year-olds?
There are a lot of, they want to know about you, they want to know about your experiences. It's good to be in a town like Chattanooga where everybody's very friendly to veterans. This community really accepts veterans. The Green Zone helps out a lot. Other aspects helps out a lot. Just being able to communicate with the students. They don't view us as ticking time bombs that, oh, he's going to have a PTSD moment. You see that more with the faculty, just because the faculty is aware of what PTS is. I have mild traumatic brain injury. The students, they don't really see it. They just see, oh, here's a I'll use it loosely, but a war hero this guy went and served his country and now he's sitting next to me, I can gain a lot of knowledge. The students see that we have the soft core principles that everybody wants in a student or in a employee, because we have the leadership and we have the skills. So they try to draw from us experiences and knowledge. So it's great. I've never had a bad interaction with a student.
That's great to hear. I'll tell you what, we're going to have to take a break. When we come back, we'll conclude our conversation about veteran services at UTC. Hello, welcome back to Metro Campus. I'm Chuck Cantrell. We're talking about veteran services at UTC. Okay, Joe, I know that UTC has gotten a lot of recognition over the last couple of years of Best College for Vets by U.S. News and World Report. That's U.S. News and World Report is like the gold standard in college rankings. Right. So to get that nod is very good for us. But it's got to be more than just our records office and your office. I know that at least the College of Business and some other departments across campus have stepped in and are really doing some things for vets. So what are some other areas where you can see some veteran services or veteran things happening?
Right, well, you know, as an example, when I stepped into the office, I had the opportunity to reach out with our food vendor contractors, Aramark, as an example, and they were more than willing to offer veteran discounts on food purchases, as an example. Or our bookstore will give the veterans discounts if they show their little veteran sticker that I give them on purchases at the bookstore, except for, ironically, the books. However, they'll purchase, you know, the Mox apparels and other supplies. But as an example, you mentioned the College of Business. The College of Business a few years ago created the Veterans Entrepreneur Program, which is designed to go to select disabled veterans and or combat veterans to be a part of this program. That part of it is online from wherever they happen to live in the United States. And then there's 1 week where the College of Business will pay for their transportation, pay for their room and board, and they go through a boot camp, if you will, of strenuous business concepts to be a business owner for themselves. And that they continue to have the structured mentoring for their potential business endeavors. And this is what they do literally for free for our veterans. The College of Business also has about 2 years ago established their online MBA program that you could do part of it on campus if you wish, or you can be a true distance learner and do the online program somewhere across the country. And they are offering very significant discounts to our veterans and current active military. And so starting from the Chancellor's office, since Chancellor Engel took over basically around the same time I took this position, back in, I think, the fall of 2013, he has stepped up and has been very veteran friendly. And when I use the term veteran friendly, he's gone beyond of just saying thank you for your service. He is saying we need to do more and we need to follow through with this, because it's important that the veterans have a level of success for serving our country. So they've served us, let us continue to serve them.
I have to tell you, I think that as much as credit as you're giving to the administration and the campus, the veterans group, you guys have done an awesome job of really integrating yourselves into the campus. And I'm wondering, is that purposeful, or is it just because it's the type of sort of leadership you guys have because of your backgrounds?
It's two ways. One, we're leaders. Joe was a non-commissioned officer. I was a non-commissioned officer. We're leaders. That's what we do. We went to school to learn how to be leaders. So it's in our nature. And a lot of times, if they don't know where you're at, they won't help you out, or they won't come to your events. So we get out there, we mingle with them to let them know. One, to end the stigma that, hey, this is a grumpy old vet. The whole disgruntled veteran thing, I hate the mantra. He may be, but he's old. I just call him old and crusty. Yeah. But we're not disgruntled. We're not dysfunctional. We may have a scowl on our face, but it's because we've got other things going on. And what some of the people don't understand is college is our job. With the GI Bill, we're basically getting paid to go to school. And with us, like me, I have 2 kids and a wife. I have to get my degree to better my family's life. So I do look at it as if a job. So there's a little bit more pressure on me. So you might not see us at basketball games or football games, but we will go to the events and get out just so people know, like, oh, they're really not that bad of a group of guys.
Yeah.
Except for Joe.
Can I
Joe's
add
totally
something?
different.
Also, real quick, that we are very active also within our community. First of all, the Student Veterans Organization established the Sergeant Stevens Scholarship, which is Sergeant Stevens was an alum of UTC, was killed in action.
I apologize. I've got to have to break you off because we're running out of time.
Okay.
Thank you both for your service to our country and to our campus. You guys have just do awesome work, and I am always in awe of you and respect. And if you'd like more information on the veteran services or any other topic we discuss here on Metro Campus, you can always find it by visiting UTC's website at www.utc.edu. That's all the time we have for this installment of Metro Campus, the UTC Report. Thanks for watching.